Hey, hey, into the hey, my illustrious Passoir snappers. Oh yeah, today is your slice of Yogatry. That's right. Today we're going to be talking about sand, quicksand, the sandbox, sand when it gets wet, which is actually called mud. Anything you want that includes the sand. You can write about the sandbox when you were a child, how much fun it was to play in the sand, how many friends you made, all the different things you could do with the sand at the beach, making sand castles. What about quicksand? Quicksand's pretty cool. Quicksand sucks you into the earth and you become one with nature in a very, very scary way. You guys remember Neverending Story? Remember when Atreyu's horse, Artek, I think, his horse gets sucked into the ground by quicksand. They're walking for miles and miles in muddy plains and muddy swamps, and they end up encountering quicksand. And it eats Atreyu's horse, and it's pretty traumatic. But that's quicksand, and it's a real thing. It's pretty cool. If you guys get inspired, write about quicksand, or write about the sandbox, or write about sand at the beach, or sand on your knees when you go surfing. Your sand in your hands. All right, you beautiful people, go write now.
Upon stumbling by chance upon a man waist deep in quicksand, I need a second to process. After all, this is fiction made flesh. It's like going to the zoo and seeing a mermaid. So my first response, naturally, is to tell him, hey, I'm pretty sure that I read somewhere that quicksand isn't actually dangerous, that the idea of a patch of sandy water sucking a person down into oblivion is just a tall tale. In real life, yeah, I mean, you can get caught in quicksand, but it's not really that hard to get out. So are you sure you're drowning in quicksand? He sinks. My words don't seem to have any effect. So being an open-minded, progressive individual, I reevaluate. Maybe quicksand is real, so what now? My second response upon stumbling by chance upon a man chest deep in quicksand before I actually do anything is to, make sure I have the whole picture. I mean, what was this guy doing out here in the jungle all alone? Did he step into that quicksand on purpose? Does he have a criminal record? Maybe I should wait until all the facts come in. He sinks. And again, being an open-minded, progressive individual, I decide to give him the benefit of the doubt. At least for now, I want to help. So my third response upon stumbling by chance upon a man neck deep in quicksand is obviously to recite a poem, to throw some spirit energy his way, to describe out loud just how heavy my heart is. I take a piece of paper out of my backpack and with a pen, I write quicksand is bad and I support people who fall in it, and I pin that piece of paper to my chest. I take out my phone and I tweet, when are we going to wake up? #quicksand, he sinks. And being an open-minded, progressive individual, I decide that this isn't enough, that we as a society need to address the root causes of people sinking into quicksand. So my fourth response upon stumbling by chance upon a man forehead deep in quicksand is to take a moment and really acknowledge and think about my privilege as someone who is not sinking in quicksand. I vow to take a class or to challenge my friends when they make quicksand related jokes to be more mindful of how I navigate the world. He sinks. And being an open-minded, progressive individual, I decide that the time for words has passed. Now is the time for action. So my fifth response upon stumbling by chance upon a man disappeared into... We can't allow ourselves to forget what happened here. I know we need to do something to put up a sign, to educate people, to build a bridge over this patch of quicksand. I just don't have any wood. I just have this backpack full of paper and pens and rope. What can one person do? I imagine my lungs filling with mud, black earth, brown water, The hike back to my hotel will be full of reflection. I say a prayer under my breath. It is the least I can do.
This is the sandbox for Lisa and Lori, my first ever loves. They were twins. I had twins, y'all. We would hold each other in silence, hungry and toothless, smashed mouth against mouth. I played the husband, brutish breadwinner, choking their hair in my small and ordinary fists, pulling her head back to lick her from neck to ear in long, slow strokes, the kind of love I learned from movies. And what was I answering as I banged my empty pelvis against hers, when my blood became static and I wanted only to be a boy? I asked her, "Who's your daddy?" before that was even a thing. When the recess bell rang, we returned to tubs of minty paste and songs about Jesus, watching my 5-year-old bride make eyes at the real boys sitting at her table. I bit my lip and I did what I was told. I wanted to claim her, to hold her hand as we walked home from school. She wanted a divorce, and when the big boys followed me down the train tracks and called me faggot, I held out my chin and challenged to fight them all every time. And why not? Might as well. We all knew I could never win anything.
Footprints in the sand. One night, I dreamed a dream. I was walking along the beach with my Lord. Across the dark sky flashed scenes from my life. For each scene, I noticed 2 sets of footprints in the sand. One belonged to me and one to my Lord. When the last scene of my life stood before me, I looked back at the footprints in the sand. There was only 1 set of footprints in the sand. I realized that this was at the lowest and saddest times of my life. This always bothered me, and I questioned the Lord about my dilemma. Lord, you told me when I decided to follow you, you would walk and talk with me all the way. But I'm aware that during the most troublesome times of my life, there is only 1 set of footprints. I just don't understand why. When I needed you most, you leave me. He whispered, "My precious child, I love you and will never leave you. Never ever during your times of trial and testings. When you saw only 1 set of footprints, it was then that I carried you."